If you've ever cannonballed into a pool and immediately open your eyes underwater, like you're starring in a 90s shampoo commercial, you've already put a lot of trust in someone you've probably never met, the person responsible for pool water quality. That splashy paradise didn't just fill itself up and hope for the best, at least, not if it's being run responsibly. Behind the scenes, a quiet chemical ballet takes place every day to keep the water safe, sparkly, and only mildly infused with traces of someone's sunscreen and broken dreams. So, how do we actually know if a pool is safe? The answer: math, science, bleach, bureaucracy, and let's be honest, whether someone is paying attention. The gold standard of pool safety revolves around testing three key things: pH, chlorine concentration, and water clarity. Everything else is built on that holy trinity. pH isn't just a trivia stat for chemistry nerds, it dictates how effective the chlorine is. If pH is too high, chlorine becomes lazy and doesn't kill germs efficiently. Too low, and the water gets acidic enough to eat your swimsuit and your skin's will to live. The sweet spot, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention (CDC), is between 7.2 and 7.8, a delicate balance that requires regular tweaking and a watchful eye. Chlorine, our favorite pungent frenemy, is the disinfectant of choice because it's cheap, fast-acting, and kills most pathogens before they can start a poolside outbreak. The recommended free chlorine level for most pools sits between 1.0 and 3.0 parts per million, ppm. Not to be confused with combined chlorine, which includes chloramines, the nasty byproducts formed when chlorine reacts with urine, sweat, and skin particles, and that give off the infamous chlorine smell, which, fun fact, actually signals dirty water. So if a pool smells like a chemistry lab wrapped in a locker room, turn around and find the nearest garden hose instead. Testing this stuff isn't rocket science, but it does require consistency and the ability to read a color chart without lying to yourself. Operators typically use test strips, liquid reagent kits, or digital meters multiple times per day. The CDC's Model Aquatic Health Code, MHC, which is voluntary but highly respected among public health agencies, recommends testing at least every 4 hours while the pool is in use. More often if it's a high bather load day, which is code for children's birthday party with cupcakes and unregulated cannonballs. But here's the catch: not all pools are public. Hotels, motels, apartment complexes, and backyard installations don't always fall under the same level of regulatory scrutiny. While most states require public pool operators to be certified, the frequency and rigor of inspections vary widely. Some facilities are visited by health inspectors twice a year. Others may go years between checks unless someone gets sick, turns green, or calls the local news. The result? A quality gap the size of a lazy river. One pool might be an aquatic sanctuary of microbial order, while the one next door is fermenting like a forgotten biology project. And what about pathogens? Well, here's where it gets interesting. Most routine pool testing doesn't actually test for germs directly. That's right, no one is dipping test strips in the water to look for Cryptosporidium or E. coli every afternoon. Instead, water testing focuses on the conditions that prevent pathogens from thriving. You're basically trusting that if the chlorine and pH are right, the invisible villains won't get comfortable enough to multiply. It's like hoping that locking your front door deters burglars. You can't test for the criminal, but you can set up the right conditions to keep them out. Still, outbreaks happen, especially when someone swims while sick, or when pools experience a surge in bathers and the chemical balance can't keep up. In these cases, water samples may be collected and sent to labs for microbial testing, usually after something has already gone wrong. The good news is, many larger facilities are now adopting automated monitoring systems that continuously check and adjust chlorine and pH levels in real time. These robotic lifeguards don't get bored, don't take bathroom breaks, and never forget to recalibrate. But whether the system is high-tech or handheld, the human factor still matters. A beautifully maintained pool requires not only the right tools and chemicals, but also someone who actually gives a chlorinated damn. If the lifeguard looks vaguely alarmed when you ask about the last chemical check, or the pool manager says, "We just eyeball it," that's not confidence. That's your cue to leave with all your microbes still intact. So next time you're staring into the cerulean depths of a public or hotel pool, remember, safety doesn't just float to the surface. It's measured in ppm, balanced in real time, and only as reliable as the person in charge of the testing kit. And if all else fails, maybe just bring your own inflatable kiddie pool. At least you'll know who peed in it.